Hello, greetings to you from Lancaster. Greetings to you from Replica Church. Welcome to another episode of the program Let's Talk Missions. My name is Mwat Asedeh, and I have always been your host. I am delighted to come your way again this week with what I have in mind. Just some thought provoking discussions. I would love to just set before you and hear what you think. And your feedbacks are always welcome. And your questions, your anything that you have in your mind as it relates to what we're sharing, because the name of the program is Let's Talk Missions. So it's supposed to be a talk, and I'm trying to keep it at a talk, not a preaching, not a seminar, not nothing, just talk. All right. I hope you're having a good day. If you are, and if you're not, because remember, being alive is very, very important. Being alive is much more valuable than you realize. So make the most of all opportunity that you have. Do not waste your energy in looking at the negative aspects of your life. Do not waste your energy in thinking that nobody cares. Do not waste your energy in what other people say or what other people's perspective are or what their ideas are about you. You are you. You were created to be you. And do not apologize for trying and seeking and working hard to be your true self. Being who you are is why God created you, to discover your person, to discover your personality, to discover who God has made you and where He has placed you is why you are alive. So please, whatever you're going through, however hard it is, like I always say, I do not want to excuse the fact that reality hits and we see it seems as though there is no way out. It is true. Times are hard. Sometimes things don't go the way we want them. Regardless of all of that, believe that there is a purpose in why you are living. Believe there is a purpose in why you are going through what you're going through. And at the end, you will look back and say, whoa, I am grateful that God has brought me thus far. So please hang in there and see you at the top. Well, in terms of in connection with this issue of living to please, living to identify why you are placed on earth, I would like to just uh, talk today for a really short time about staying relevant in your time and in your context. You see, you have to realize that living at the time that you do does not mean you would continue to do so forever. I've been reflecting recently, reading through the Bible, and one thing that occurred to me as I did coming down through the prophets is that the Ark of the Covenant was a very important part of the religious movement or the religious life of the nation of Israel. I mean, the Ark of Covenant was the place where the power of God was made manifest, where the power of God would come upon. The Ark of the Covenant was a symbol of the presence of God among the children of Israel. You know, the Ark of the Covenant was something that they took into battle, but sometimes they got defeated even when they did because they disobeyed, did not follow the principles that God has set for them. So uh, God allowed them to be defeated. But then the Ark of the Covenant itself wouldn't even stay in the same room with an idol, you know. Come to think of it, was the Ark of the Covenant an idol? Sort of Israel's approved idol? Well, they didn't worship the Ark of the Covenant. They did not ascribe power to it, did they? Well, God's presence showed, was made manifest in the Ark of the Covenant. So it was approved. So that means it was not an idol. They did not worship it as the source of power, the source of deity, but they believe that the source of power makes himself, yeah, that pronoun, makes himself manifest in that item, right? So that's not idolatry. It's not. I'm just thinking. Anyways, the Ark of a Covenant was placed in the same room as Dagon, a idol, and Dagon could not stay straight in the face of the Ark of the Covenant. That is the point that I'm driving at. But I'm trying to say the Ark of the Covenant was relevant from the time it was created. There was a time in the story of the children of Israel where the Ark of the Covenant was not even an issue to talk about. It was not there. But then God created it at a point in the history of the Ark, somewhere in Exodus. Moses commissioned it. So it became relevant through Exodus, through the time of the judges, through the times of the kings, and then we don't hear of it anymore. But did that stop God's presence from being present with the people? No, it did not. God was still present with the people, regardless of the mention or lack of mention of the Ark of the Covenant. Somewhere along the line, it just died out. If it's discovered today, I'm sure it's going to be a really great and important piece. What I'm trying to drive at is there was a time the Ark of the Covenant was relevant in the history of the religion of the children of Israel. And then there was a time that it sort of lost that significance. There is always a time in which things or people, especially people, become relevant. Do you know that the type of prayer that you pray or the type of things that you do where at some point you did not discover them? Some people have done it and left it, or it was initiated or originated by someone. So why would you, in trying to be relevant, in seeking to please God, in seeking to discover yourself, feel as though you are going to stay relevant forever? If you are going to be relevant for the time that you were created in, I think that takes humility in knowing that I'm here for the now. And my work is going to be possibly just relevant for this generation. You might be remembered down the line, depending on what you do. But staying relevant for your time, in your context, requires humility. It will be wise that you do so without enforcing and seeking to make your way the right way, the only way, even as a denomination or even as a group or as an individual. Nobody has a monopoly of all of these things. The only one person that we can look to who has stayed relevant from yesterday till today and will continue to is Jesus. And the more you get close to Jesus, you will realize that Jesus himself lived within a particular time and a particular context and lived and did his ministry not to seek to dominate the people or try to make them feel as though he was the best of them, making them feel belittled. He lived with people as ordinary people. Seeking to stay relevant means that you ask questions, and it's okay to ask those questions. Jesus lived like any other person lived at his time. Have you ever wondered, asked, because Jesus was 100% human and 100% God? Now, this tension is tough to hold on to. It's tough to explain. Yet, what I believe, what I've chosen to believe is that he is 100% God, 100% man. Because the scripture points to the fact that Jesus accepted worship as God. Jesus declared himself the same as the Father. I do not understand everything about that, but I am choosing with my will to believe that what Jesus said is true. So do not seek to spiritualize everything because Jesus was human. Have you ever cared to ask yourself, how was the plumbing situation during the time of Jesus? Where did they go to the toilet? Um, did, did they have toilets in the house? Did they use outhouses? Did they use tissue paper or leaves or rocks? Were they human? Was he human? Did he fart? Yeah, seem like ridiculous questions, right? Why would you even ask those questions? Because when you ask them, it brings you closer to understanding that Jesus was just like you. But when we spiritualize, make it look so sanctimonious, so holy, we distant ourselves from understanding the fact that Jesus came to be human so that you and I can understand the value of being human and cherish it. So that you will respect the humanity in me and I will respect the humanity in you as a basis for meeting your need, not to use some spiritual tags that I will give you food and then you give your life to Christ, or that I will give you clothes. No, that we would do those things on the basis of the fact that we are simply trying to see the needs of another humanity being met. That is what it means to stay relevant for your time and in your context. It is okay to ask those questions. It is okay to wrestle with those tensions. It is okay to ask those difficult questions that there are no answers to. Seek for them. All those traditions that do not allow you to ask questions, just come out of it and think of, I'm not saying leave them, but step out of the box for once and try to reason, why do some people think the way they do? That will help your ministry in a very, very good, meaningful, and significant way. Stay relevant for your time. Stay relevant in your context by being humble, by understanding that we are here for just a certain time. You do not know all the answers to all of the questions. However, you are able to do your part in a meaningful way without trying to spiritualize everything, but being real as a human being. That is what counts. Stay relevant for your time and do not seek to undercut or undermine other people by feeling as though you are superior or that you know it all or that you understand it all. Stay relevant for your time. Do missions in the best way that you understand God has revealed it to you to do. Stay relevant by not seeking to be popular, because that is not what makes you relevant. Seeking to be known, seeking to be heard, seeking to be the most famous. None of that counts as being relevant for your time. As much as in comparison to what it feels or what it means to be relevant after you are gone. Because what counts is the here and now and the hereafter. Stay relevant for your time. Stay relevant in your time. Stay relevant in your context and continue to seek to do that with the help of the power that is at work in you. Thank you for listening, and I hope to catch you same time next week. And have a good weekend. No, the rest of your week, and a good weekend. God's blessings.